Thank you, Madam Speaker. The recent mandate letters sent out to provincial crown corporations show an incredible double standard in the way that this government treats different sectors of the economy. Basically, the public sector is expected to operate by free market rules, but the private sector is somehow being supported by PC socialism. The Premier is asking the Centennial Centre, a public cultural facility, to turn a profit in 5 years. The Bombers Stadium gets $200 million.
Order.
Horse racing gets $20 million. But when it comes to MPI, the Premier and his minister are actually ordering that Crown Corporation to pay extra for insurance brokers. Does the Premier know how much more Manitobans can expect to pay in car insurance because he's ordering MPI to provide handouts to his friends?
The Honourable First Minister.
We're not big as a government on handouts to friends, Madam Speaker. We like to earn our friends. We know that we won't get real friends by buying them. This is as opposed to the federal Liberal government's approach, of course. Now, I know the member is a little defensive about that, but he needs to be because he has linked himself so closely to the Trudeau government. But I understand that the Trudeau government just handed out literally hundreds of millions of dollars to one particular company that is a major donor to them. This is the kind of practice we frown upon here. We don't do that here. We've said no to subsidizing major companies, and as a result, we find that there is the ability to give greater support to all those companies who really want to do business in Manitoba, not just those who want to be, bribed to come here, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a supplementary question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's important to be clear about how MPI, Hydro, and MLLC are supposed to work. They're supposed to act in the public interest. They're supposed to provide high-quality, universal, safe, affordable services to all Manitobans. But what is more, they've been ordered to tighten their belts, but every single one of them is already profitable. MLLC net income was $610 million in 2017-18. Which was a growth rate of 4.1% over the previous year. Manitoba Public Insurance earned a $91 million profit. Hydro was also profitable. None of them are in deficit. They're all hugely in surplus. Is the Premier expecting them to hike their prices to cover his own deficit, which is basically a tax by any other name?
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, just a couple of things, Madam Speaker. There are pretty few government monopolies who don't have to compete with anyone else, who don't post an ostensible profit, so we'll leave that where it is. But the member is caught in his own contradictions. He speaks about a deficit being a delayed tax, and of course it is, Madam Speaker, but he, on the other hand, has advocated that we should spend more money by borrowing more money. He's also said that the only problem the previous government had, under the NDP, of course, they doubled our debt in the last 6 years of their mandate. He said the only problem they had was they didn't borrow more and run larger deficits, Madam Speaker. Thirdly, he's also said that the way to progress in this province is to have the taxes go up. He's advocating for a higher carbon tax, for example. He's advocating for a higher PST, as another example. So the member's caught in his own contradiction, Madam Speaker. We're going to concern ourselves with what's in the best public interest. The member can continue to concern himself with spending more and borrowing more as long as he likes, but he's at sharp odds with the common sense of Manitobans, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a final supplementary.
Well, the Premier is at sharp odds with the truth on that one, I'm afraid, Madam Speaker. I don't think anything he said is actually accurate. So I ran for leader of the Manitoba Liberal Party because for years life for Manitobans has been getting harder. And one of the promises I ran on was no privatizations. The PCs privatized MTS. The NDP privatized the Land Titles Office, and it's crystal clear, Madam Speaker, the way this government chooses to punish its opponents, the people who work at Crown corporations, and reward its friends who want a piece of the action. A director at MPI said they worked extremely hard for 3 years to improve an organization that was, quote, brutally manipulated by political interests in the NDP regime, and then they had to go get a legal opinion to see how they could resist this government. Has the Premier already drawn up a list of people who are likely applicants for the privatization of liquor and lotteries?
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, Madam Speaker, if truth was an island, it would be an island uninhabited by that member. The member has said that he wants a higher carbon tax. if he wants to disagree with his own previous statements, go out in the hall and disagree. But he has said publicly he wants a higher carbon tax to be charged to Manitoba families. He says he opposes us lowering the provincial sales tax. That means he's advocating for, Madam Speaker, a higher sales tax on Manitobans. Madam Speaker, he says he wants a larger subsidy for his political party, Madam Speaker. These are added to the list previously outlined by me, quite accurately, of requests for the government to spend more money, not for Manitobans' good, but for him. And this goes on the list with his request. The first and foremost he advanced that he should have more office space. Madam Speaker, this is not a gentleman who understands the priorities of Manitobans, but this is a government that does.